Did you realize that your unwavering support plays a pivotal role in making psychology and mental health more accessible to everyone? It's true, and we're immensely grateful for the overwhelming love and encouragement you've shown us. Thank you, from the bottom of our hearts. Now let's delve deeper. Have you ever found yourself agreeing to certain favors or ending up in situations you never imagined you'd be in? It's not uncommon. Sometimes our friends employ subtle psychological techniques or simply their natural charm to sway our decisions. But have you ever wondered about the secrets behind these persuasive maneuvers? What are the psychological tricks that actually work? Picture this. Teachers, psychologists, and even your closest companions are adept at utilizing these strategies to influence behavior and shape outcomes. So, without further ado, let's uncover 8 psychological tricks that have proven their effectiveness time and again. Imagine this. Have you ever been engrossed in a conversation and suddenly someone mentions your name? It's like a jolt, pulling you back into the present moment. That's the power of names. Whether it's in a lecture hall or a casual chat, calling someone by their name is like turning on a spotlight. It captures their attention instantly. Think back to your school days. Remember how teachers would strategically drop your name mid-lecture to reel you back in? It's a subtle but effective technique to keep students engaged, and the same principle applies to everyday interactions. Now, picture yourself in a conversation with someone you admire. By sprinkling their name throughout your dialogue, you're not just talking to them. You're making them feel seen and valued. It's like adding a dash of charm to your words, making every exchange feel special and memorable. So, next time you want to make an impression, remember the power of a name. It's not just a word, it's a key to unlocking connections and leaving a lasting impact. Picture this. You're engrossed in a lively conversation with your brother, but you need his help carrying something to your room. Instead of outright asking for assistance, here's a clever trick. Hand him the object mid-conversation. It's like planting a seed of cooperation without interrupting the flow of dialogue. Now, why does this work? It's a bit of a mystery, but when people are caught up in storytelling or deep discussion, they're more receptive to unexpected gestures. It's as if their subconscious is on autopilot, accepting whatever comes their way without question. So next time you need a hand, give this trick a try. Whether you're discussing the intricacies of life or the mysteries of the universe, subtly pass them the object you need help with. Who knows? They might just lend a hand without skipping a beat. Imagine this. You're gearing up for a major exam and you're determined to ace it. But here's a surprising tip. Chewing gum might just be the secret weapon you need. It may sound bizarre, but hear me out. The key lies in Pavlov's theory, conducted by the renowned psychologist Ivan Pavlov. In his groundbreaking experiments with his dogs, Pavlov demonstrated how pairing a stimulus, like the sound of a bell, with a conditioned response, like salivation, could create a learned association. For example, he showed that after a dog was trained to salivate upon hearing the sound of a bell, they would continue to salivate upon hearing that sound alone, even if no food was present. This illustrates how an initial stimulus can elicit a natural response, and then be paired with a new stimulus to create a learned association. Now, apply this principle to your study routine. Find a distinct flavor of gum and start chewing it during your study sessions. By the time the exam rolls around, you'll have conditioned yourself to associate that flavor with the information you've been studying. It's like creating a mental shortcut to recall key concepts during the test. So, next time you're hitting the books, don't forget to bring out the bubble gum. Who knows, it might just be the secret ingredient to earning that coveted A+. The concept of cognitive dissonance, as described by Medical News Today, is a theory in social psychology that describes the mental conflict that arises when a person's behaviors and beliefs are incongruent. Imagine being caught in the intriguing interplay between what you do and what you believe, where inner discord sets the stage for a captivating internal narrative. Visualize navigating through life's labyrinth, encountering moments where your actions seem to diverge from your deeply held convictions. It's akin to engaging in a cerebral tug-of-war, where conflicting thoughts wrestle for dominance. Yet, here lies the crux of fascination. Rather than succumbing to this internal dissonance, why not harness it as a catalyst for personal growth? Instead of viewing cognitive dissonance as a source of discomfort, perceive it as a doorway to transformation. Conceive of it as a mental odyssey, where you challenge yourself to reconcile the disparity between your actions and your ideals. By embracing cognitive dissonance, you embark on a voyage of self-exploration and empowerment. So, when you find yourself at odds with your own beliefs, do not evade the discomfort. Embrace it. Utilize it as a driving force to propel yourself toward alignment, toward a state where your actions resonate harmoniously with your values. In essence, cognitive dissonance transcends mere theoretical constructs. It beckons as a clarion call to action. It invites you to delve deep into the recesses of your mind and emerge stronger, more aligned, and more authentic than ever before. Number 5. Leverage the door-in-the-face technique to your advantage. Picture this. You've set your heart on acquiring a vintage vinyl record player you've been eyeing at the local thrift store. Every time you walk past the store, that sleek turntable beckons to you with its nostalgic charm. Your birthday is around the corner, and you've already envisioned yourself spinning your favorite records on it, but unfortunately, your wallet is feeling a bit light. Now, here's where psychological maneuvering comes into play. Instead of directly asking your parents for the record player, start by requesting something bigger, perhaps a weekend camping trip with friends. Confusing, right? After all, you want the record player, not a trip. But by initiating with a larger request, you create room for negotiation. Once your parents have declined the larger favor, smoothly transition to your real ask, the record player. Compared to the initial request for a camping trip, purchasing a record player might seem like a much smaller favor. This strategic approach, known as the door-in-the-face technique in psychology, capitalizes on the principle of reciprocity. Similarly, if you find yourself in need of financial assistance, start by asking for a larger amount than you actually require. For example, if you urgently need a favor but suspect your friend might hesitate to fulfill a significant request, ask for something even bigger. Surprisingly, your original favor will seem much more manageable in comparison, and your friend is more likely to agree. In both situations, using this psychological strategy can increase your chances of achieving what you truly desire. Whether it's the joy of listening to vinyl records or helping you out, timing is everything when it comes to asking for a favor. Let's paint a picture. Your friend urgently needs a place to crash for the night. Meanwhile, you've been immersed in a marathon of the office, thoroughly enjoying your downtime. Initially, you've decided that hosting them overnight is simply not feasible, and you've resolved to politely decline. But suddenly, there's a knock on your door, and there stands your friend, pleading for shelter in the wee hours of the morning. Despite your exhaustion and the reluctance to entertain guests at such an hour, you find yourself relenting and inviting them in. Studies suggest that fatigue can significantly sway our decision-making abilities. Mentally and physically drained, you simply lack the energy to argue or resist, opting instead for the path of least resistance. In that moment, your desire for peace and rest outweighs any objections you may have had. In essence, leveraging someone's exhaustion can be a strategic maneuver in getting them to comply with your requests. It's not about manipulation, but rather recognizing the vulnerability that fatigue brings and using it to your advantage. Number 7. Mirror others to help you make friends. Are you having a hard time making friends at school? Without having to change anything about who you are, try mirroring the other person's movements and gestures, and they may just be more open to getting to know you. This kind of mirroring is called the chameleon effect and has been explored in further studies. If someone thinks that you're like them, they may be more willing to be your friend. So someone could be mirroring you subconsciously to lure you in and gain your trust, or most likely they want to be your friend. Have you ever tried to convince someone of something obvious, but they still shake their heads like you're speaking an alien language? You know they would get it if they would just open their minds a little bit. Like how they absolutely need to immerse themselves in the magical world of Harry Potter and get swept away by the enchanting stories and beautiful friendships. If they could just understand your razor-sharp point and agree with it, then their time becoming obsessed with Michael Scott would only be a matter of time. But how do you get people to get on board with you? Well, buckle up and get ready for some psychological superpowers. According to a time-worn study from the 1980s, published in the Journal of Applied Psychology, scientists made the fascinating discovery that listeners are more likely to agree with the speaker when they nod while listening. You may even find yourself subconsciously nodding along to someone's thrilling story, simply because they are doing it too. Pretty cool, right? But remember, power comes with responsibility. Don't forget, this power comes with the duty to use it wisely and ethically. Use this trick for good things, and be aware that others may use it on you too. So, are you ready to experiment with a few of these psychological tricks? Since YouTube promotes highly engaging videos, please give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Subscribe to our channel for updates on new content.